Churn dash block. I'll just show you a picture of it here. This is the churn dash. It's called a churn dash because it's supposed to resemble the top of a butter churn. It's also called a monkey wrench. You can probably see why it's called a monkey wrench also. But this little block is made up of 9 patches. It's called a 9-patch block. We have it here in the green and the peach, and it's probably more clearer in this one here. But it's made up of 9 little squares. And believe it or not, you know, we've made this one already. This is our half square triangle, which we made for our pinwheel block. It's a very simple little block. Just go ahead and start. So I asked you to have 2 pieces of fabric. So this is our fabric here. I'm going to press our fabrics right sides together. So all our cutting is going to be done in pairs. So just lay the fabric down, right sides together, and press those. It might look like a complicated block, but it's not. It's very simple, really. You'll see now as I'm going through how easy it is to make up. Just be careful and try and take your 1/4 inch seam. We were talking about that before. That does help when it goes together later. So I'm just going to move this out of the way for the moment, and we're going to start cutting our fabric. I'm going to cut on my right hand side, just here, nice straight edge. So all the measurements that you need for your fabric are all in the Irish Country Living magazine. Everything you need to know is there. Here I'm cutting a strip of fabric, 1, 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut a strip of fabric 2.5 inches wide. I'm going to measure off my 2.5 inches on my ruler and put it down on my cut edge. 2.5 inches. And I'm going to cut that strip. That's that one. I'm just going to lay that to one side for the moment. And the next I'm going to cut is a strip that's 4 7/8 of an inch. We need two squares that measure 4 7/8. So I'm just going to cut, because it's laid out like this, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a strip anyway, 4 7/8 of an inch. So let's just do that. Okay, so that strip is 4 7/8. Now I need 2 squares from this, so I'm just going to cut off 2 squares. I'm going to subcut it. I'll open it out, cut it down one side. Okay, and then turn my fabric over, and I'm going to cut. Where's my? Here we are. So I need a square 4 7/8. So I'm just going to put that measurement down on the cut side of my fabric. So here we are. Those 2, and again I'm going to cut 1 more square, 4 7/8 of an inch. That's those 2 squares. So now we have a strip that's 2.5 inches wide, and we have our 2 squares that are measuring 4 7/8 of an inch. And remember, we're cutting our fabric in pairs here all the time. Now the next one we need is I just need 1 square that measures 4.5. So I'm going to measure 4.5 inches on my ruler and lay that down on the cut edge, 4.5, and cut it. And then I need to turn it around and measure 4.5 again. So that's 4.5. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of all this fabric here. And now I'm going to go through that again. So here we have our strip that's 2.5 inches wide. And we have our 2 squares, pairs at 4 7/8 of an inch, and our centre square, and that measures 4.5. And the first thing I'm going to do is sew these 2 strips together. So this is going to give us our 4 strip pieced units in our block. And if you have a look at the diagram on the Irish Country Living magazine, you'll see exactly what I'm going to be making up here. So just sew your strip the whole way through to the end. Taking a 1/4 inch seam. Just want to make sure it's nice and aligned there at the bottom. That's it. That's our strip sewn together. I'm going to press this. So I'm going to turn it over to the dark side. Press it again, and then I'm just going to roll my fabric forward, pressing my seam all in the one direction, pressing my seam to the dark side. Wherever possible, you should always press your seam to the dark side because it's hidden then behind the dark fabric. So I'm going to bring this back to I'm going to bring this back to the cutting board again. Now I'm going to cut, subcut this into 4.5 inch squares. We'll go ahead with that. So that's a nice straight edge. I'm going to turn it around. And off we go. 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. Yeah. So we need 4 of these squares. That's 1. This is a 9 patch block. I think I mentioned that earlier. It's made up of 9 little patches. 4.5. 2. Yeah. 3. And so last square. That's our 4 strip piece squares. Okay, and now we're going to work on our half square triangles, and we've made these ones before when we were making our pinwheel. So again, just draw a line from corner to corner on your lighter fabric. Here we go. I'm actually making this block up from start to finish so you can see exactly how the whole thing goes together. So let's get this under the machine. So I'm sewing 1/4 inch each side of the line I've just drawn. Take it out, turn it around. So 1/4 inch the other side. That's one done. Let's take up the other one. Whoops. There we are. So when you're starting to sew, if you put your foot down, your needle down, and your threads out the back, that will say sometimes your thread can kind of get caught at the back when you're starting off the seam. That should take care of that. Take it out, turn around, and we're sewing 1/4 inch down the other side of the line. Whoops. I'm in a bit of a hurry here. Okay, take it out, cut it, and I'm going to press this again. So press along here. We're making our half square triangles. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put my ruler down on the line that we drew earlier on, and we're going to cut right through that. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Okay, that's it. I'm going to bring them over to the ironing board. Lay them down with the dark side on top, and I'm just going to roll the dark fabric away from the light fabric and press it. And there's our half square triangles. So now we have 4 of these. That's 4 half square triangles, and we have 4 strip piece units. and we have our centre square. So we have everything we need now to put our block together. So let's just lay them out. I'll just get rid of this ruler for a minute, and let's see if I can put this together now in one go without making a mistake. It's a good idea to have a picture of your block beside you, you know, or beside your machine, so you can see exactly where you're going. To make up our block now, we have again 4 half square triangles, we have 4 strip pieced units, and we have 1 plain little square like that. So this will be our first row. So that's here. I'm going to put that this way and that way. You can probably see it starting to take shape there already. So I'm going to take another strip pieced unit, put it like that. It's my centre square. This would be the one now that would have your little motif or your little picture on it if you wanted to use it. And then this one is goes like that. You can see, really see that coming together. So again, that's one, and then our strip piece unit, and there's our other one. Yeah, that's our monkey wrench or our churn dash block. So when I'm sewing this together now, I like to sew it in rows. I will leave it beside my machine so I can see exactly where I'm going. So I'm going to pick it up, the first row, and I'm just going to lean this one over like that, put the 2 of them together and bring them over to my machine and sew. So you can make a whole quilt with this block. It actually looks lovely if you just make up lots of these blocks and then just put maybe some sashing, you know, in between each block. It would be lovely. And like most of the blocks that we're making for our sampler quilt, you can make a whole quilt with any of them really on their own. That's that one done. So lay it down and then just take up this one here, fold it over and bring it to your machine. So just get this right. Remember, I'm taking 1/4 inch seams on all of my seams, so that when I go to put my final pieces together, that they all should work out, fit together nicely. Put it over, and then I'm going to bring this one over like this. So we're sewing in rows. I'm sewing 1, 2, 3 rows, and I press them, and then we'll sew the rows together, and that'll give us our block. That's our middle row almost done, and just take the last row. Again, foot down, needle down, thread out the back. And you don't have to worry about back tacking at the beginning or end of your seam, because all these little seams will be enclosed in another seam, so we don't have to worry too much about securing the start and the finish of our seam. You can just run it straight under your machine like I am doing here. That's our third row. So the next thing to look at is how we're going to press our seams. I'm going to take these over to the ironing board and we're going to press them before I sew them back together again. So let's have a look here. So the top one, I think I'd iron my seams in like this. So I'm going to press from the top, work up towards my seam, press in like that, and then the same on the other side. Just press it on top, lean it over, and so the seams on my top row are facing in towards each other, And then my second row, I want these seams to be facing out. Just iron on top, roll it over that side, iron on top, roll it over that side. So these seams, these centre seams now are facing out towards the edge. And again, I want these two seams to face in. And the reason I'm doing that is that when we put them together later, those seams should butt up against each other. It means that there's less bulk when you're sewing your seams together. It just lies nice and flat when it's all done. So again, just lay your block out beside your machine so you don't get mixed up or anything. I'm going to bring this one down, and this time I'm going to lay my seams up against each other. So to get this right. Okay, off we go. Taking our 1/4 inch seams, we're nearly there. And try and match up your seams as best you can. I think I mentioned in one of our other little videos, maybe last week or the week before, that you can use a pin if you like, you know, to match your seams. It's entirely up to you. Some people don't feel comfortable using it, you know, sewing over a pin on their sewing machine. I don't mind. Just if you are, take it nice and easy. You know, go over your needle, slow down before you get up to it, and you know, sewing your needle will just slide over it. If you don't want to do that, use a pin by all means, and when you get up towards your pin, just take it out, you know, whatever is comfortable for you. Anything that will try and help keep your seams matching. And then again, if your seams don't match, like, it doesn't matter really, not really. Some people are very particular about their seams, and other people are not too bothered. It's a personal choice really. As long as you're having fun making your quilt, that's the most important thing. Picking your fabrics and sitting down and making your blocks. So that's it, nearly there. And that's our Churn dash block. I think that's a lovely block. You can actually really see what it's like there. It's a good contrast between the light blue and the navy blue. But you can see also how a whole quilt could be made of these. If you just have some sashing strips between each block, lengthways and then going across, it would look lovely. So that's our Churn dash block. We'll see you next week for our 6th block in the series. Thank you.